How's everybody doing? And welcome to the fish room. Today I'm going to turn the camera on, show you the fish room. I'm going to change some things coming up soon. So I want to do an update, kind of just show you what it looks like now so we can compare it to it later. If you're new to the channel, first of all, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to go below, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff helps me out. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll get updated whenever I have new videos coming out. But coming into the fish room, so right here you come through the door, we have a wall tank here, so you can see it from both sides. That tank's going to get completely redone. That's kind of what I want to do an update on today, but I will show you everything else. I just got some glass lids. I didn't even put like the actual opener, like the sticker on there in the backs yet. I just ordered today Fluval 3.0 48-inch light. This is a 55-gallon tank. We're going to make it a planted aquarium. We're going to actually have some nice lighting on it. We have a canister filter that's going to be sitting right over here on the table here. I actually have it running, if we can look through the door, on that 5-gallon bucket right there. Just to test it out, it's my first canister filter. I believe it's a Fluval 207, if I'm saying that right, but so far it's working pretty well. We'll get it on this tank. We're going to have a lot of water and other cycled media that we kind of speed that process up. But right now this tank has very dim lighting. It's running off sponge filters, fake plants. It's kind of hard to see now. We did have a video on, I have these magnets here. I can put a background on and off if I want to see this tank from both sides. So I'm excited to do this tank. I think it's going to look really nice, especially from the other side. Definitely need some cleaning in here, but right now it's kind of a mess. This tank here is that Fluval 5.5 gallon. Just growing and kind of maintaining a few little plants in here right now. We did have that kind of like carpeting grass plant. Didn't do well at all. But we have some stem plants in here. We have some Wisteria, some different things. I forget most of the names right now, but the albino guppies are getting bigger. They're doing well. Moving over here to the rest of the tanks, we have our 10 gallons here. The line breeding project's doing pretty well. We have some males in there, females there, putting on some size. We have lots of shrimp in here, feeding pretty well. And I did just get these, they're called a wonder shell. This bag actually broke up with a hammer. Over here they're surrounding it with the algae wafers and the shell there, but it's going to help. It sounds like they're for snails is why I initially bought them, because a lot of my snail shells were getting really brittle, so I wanted to add some calcium. But so far, after just a week or two, a lot more snail activity, a lot nicer color in their shells, and it's going to help my shrimp molt. So I've been adding that to all my tanks. We did drop that glossostigma, and then the shrimp cleaned it up very nice. It's kind of hard to see, but that was one of our project tanks on how to grow plants from seeds, and it was doing really well with like an inch of water. I just kind of sank it in here, and the shrimp cleaned it up in a few days. So that's kind of cool, just kind of hanging out in this tank. Kind of just like a breeding for profit shrimp tank. Wanted to get those scuds out of there eventually, but as of right now, they're not really bothering me. Over here, we put in some baby plecos from another tank. I had a video on how to tumble the eggs and actually do it on those hang-on breeder boxes. And then we put an air stone in there to get some more flow, but you can see a few of those baby plecos kind of hang on to the snail shells right there. They're doing pretty well. Down here, I don't know if I can get a light on them. Kind of a sneak peek on some of the male guppies in here for the line breeding project. I think I called one of them just because he was kind of getting, he was swimming kind of funny. He wasn't acting very healthy, so it wasn't something I was really interested in breeding. And I didn't want to start on a bad note with this strain. Then over here we have a few females, just kind of a quick sneak peek on this tank. They are getting bigger. We're still planning on doing that, but I'll turn that light off for now. We'll keep moving around. Not a whole lot's changed over here. The Wisteria is doing well in this 55-gallon tank. Moss is thick as ever. I've been trimming from both of those. Down here we have our plecos growing out. We still have our duckweed, kind of no filter tank with, we got a trio of guppies down there. Moving over, and I'll make this real quick. If you guys want to watch some of my fish room tours, I have some that I posted not too long ago. This tank's doing well also. We got our red guppies in here. There's a nice big female right here. A few younger babies around her, or younger, like adult babies at this point. Still lots of our super red plecos. Excited for some of my longfins. I think I have a pair. This looks like a young female. Still kind of hard to tell. It may get the bristles on her nose eventually, but we do have a male in here somewhere that's actually getting the bristles. There's a nice young male. You can see the bristles showing up on that common there. But this is kind of just an enjoyable breeding tank right now. I haven't been selling much from it because I'm just holding back these guys grow up and get some pairs. This guy's always really cool. It's like the red marble or the Calico Longfin. Really cool fish there, nice dark color, and then it actually has that red versus this one over here is more of like a blend on the sponge filter. Really excited to grow these guys up and breed them. I've been focusing more on just the aquariums recently versus the breeding, but this is one project I'm really excited about. It's been like 2 or 3 years in the making, so that's really neat. This tank, I'm still fighting the algae bloom. I did find out that my timers were messed up and it was running 24/7. Even after I thought I checked it, I still messed up. So doing some water changes, added some carbon, put a hang-on filter there. This tank will be back in action hopefully the next few weeks. But we do have some baby plecos in there. I've seen them on the glass, so the tank's still doing well from that standpoint. It actually might be better for breeding, but I don't want to have a green tank, so hopefully that gets cleared up soon. Still lots of babies and plecos in that bottom 29. The top tank's doing well also. I did thin out the top layer of plants on this no water change tank a little bit, so it's a little bit brighter in there. Amazon swords are still looking pretty good so far. Fighting the glare a little bit as always for this tank. Tons of baby shrimp. There's one kind of going around the tank right now. I've been adding buffer to this aquarium. This is my saltwater tank. I really haven't touched it. I have a hermit crab living in there for the last month or two. I've been adding this marine buffer because my pH was like 7.7 or something. Now we're around like 8.1, 8.2, something like that. It's supposed to balance it at 8.3, but I don't want to go too heavy. I've already dosed like 1.5 doses of what it recommends. It says like 2 tablespoons or a tablespoon per 10 gallons, something like that. And I've been doing like a quarter or a half teaspoon, I'm sorry, every few days, just slowly ramping that up. And I hope to get a pair of clownfish in this tank eventually. I'll wipe down the glass here and bring in a water sample to the store. But this is just like kind of a quarantine / project tank. I did a video on it and I think it just needs time. I think it was working. It could have worked right off the get-go the way I did it, where I just filled the tank up, pretty much waited a day, added a cycled sponge filter, and we're pretty much good to go. But I think it's going to be a lot more stable now. We're actually adding a buffer to keep the pH more stable and a little bit higher. Hopefully once we get that up, we don't have to keep adding it. And then we'll just kind of have a small bio load in there with 1 or 2 fish. We're not going to have to change the water much, if at all. Just top it off every once in a while, do smaller water changes, and pour the water in a lot slower. I did actually buy a pump where I can fill up a bucket of water, drop the pump in there, and then pump it into the tank. Not super fast, and that way I'm not actually dumping buckets, and I think that's going to help out with my planted tanks for not disrupting all the plants in the tank, and also just not having to carry a bucket and dump it and worry about splashing in or dumping in there too fast. So that's what I'll be doing for my planted tanks and saltwater tank from now on. But this tank, I'm planning on getting fish here soon. I'm still doing this tank. Moving over to the last tank we have here is a 10-gallon carpet tank. I have lots of videos on this tank. It's that glossostigma. We grew it from seeds, and right now it's doing really well. I was fighting some algae for a little while, where I was growing on the glass a lot and on the actual plants themselves. I figured out with the lighting and the time, I kind of cut back, and then a big help was I added 3 of these. I believe they're trapdoor snails. This one you probably can see a little bit better. They cleaned it up super quick. Probably within a week, this tank is looking good. I might take some out and just leave 1 in here long term so they don't start to feed on the plants or anything. But so far they did really well on cleaning this tank up. I think the carpet's looking pretty good. It doesn't grow super fast because I'm not using CO2. It's kind of slowing down in growth, so I can't just keep trimming it off and all the algae on top will go away. It's growing a little bit slower now, so I think keeping these guys clean is going to help them stay healthy and just have a good carpet tank. Guppies getting a little bit bigger in here. But all in all, I'm enjoying this tank. I did throw a little bit of water Sprite in here just because I was trimming my other tanks. I thought it actually might help the algae growth cut back because we get a little bit more shade beneath it. As long as it's getting enough light, I think we can have some floating plants in here. And I don't mind Wisteria versus like a duckweed. It gets a little bit annoying, but the Wisteria is nice. And you can see it's already starting to grow up out of the water a little bit, which will be cool. Just kind of have this almost eventually be a no water change aquarium as well. As long as these plants are growing well, we can just keep trimming them and topping this tank off. We'll be pretty much ready to go. That's pretty much everything I want to show with the tanks today. I want to get too in depth. But there's a quick overview of all of the aquariums. There's a lot of changes going to be happening to this wall tank, and kind of in general in the fish room, I'm going to focus more on doing nice display tanks, work on my lighting in here, enjoy the room a little bit more. Like right now, if I turn around, the room's really dark. It's kind of a mess in here. I'm going to clean everything over here. I do want to put that 90-gallon aquarium in that corner. I did tell you guys I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. We're almost at 6 now. So if we keep growing the channel, I want to do more tanks for you guys, but I have to be able to justify it a little bit because this is kind of started off with a breeding for profit, and we are trying to kind of maintain our hobby here in the fish room, so I don't want to just spend too much money on all these aquariums without having more of a growing following at the same time. But that's not a big deal. I do all this because I enjoy it, but it is also a business. But we have a lot of junk over here. I got generators, I have shipping supplies, we have different bags of substrate, rocks, vacuums. So this all needs to be cleaned up. Probably do a small shelf over here on this wall, and then we can have an aquarium here. Get some better lighting actually in the room. I usually have my lights on here longer. We're doing like 12 hours, but now I'm doing like 8 hours, so we cut back on the algae. But then the room's just dark for half the day when I want to come in here and do some things. I can't really work in the space without turning on the fish lights, so want to get maybe a shop light or two just for the actual room in the middle. But thanks for watching, guys. I know I kind of jumped around today. I wanted to show you the wall tank and then kind of just give you a quick overview of everything else. Probably rambled a bit, but thanks again for watching. If you liked the video, like below. Check out some of the older videos I'm going to post on the screen right here. And you guys all have a good day, good weekend whenever you're watching this, and I'll talk to you very soon. Thanks.